Are you looking for all the latest pro football news and content? Of course you are. Who doesn't love football? The question is, how do you get all the latest pro football news and content? There's so many different pro football podcasts on the internet. Which one do you choose? Which one is the right fit for you? Well, you go with the Across the Middle Show, one of the fastest growing football podcasts out right now. Over the past year, we've climbed the Spotify rankings, become a show you have to listen to if you're a football fan. Find out if the Ravens will go all the way with Odell Beckham Jr. Find out if the Eagles did enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. You get all of our best stories for just $1 per month. All you have to do is sign up by clicking the link in the episode description box. I'm John Kuzma. Thanks for tuning in to the Across the Middle Show, where we cover all the latest pro football news and action. We got the Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields story today. We're also going to talk a little bit about Zay Flowers. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. So Trevor Lawrence was ranked 96 on the top 100 players list. Justin Fields is in 86. So is Justin Fields a better player than Trevor Lawrence? Do you guys feel that Justin Fields is better than Trevor Lawrence? Me personally, I don't think that's the case. And I'm a huge Justin Fields supporter. I believe in Justin Fields. I think he's a great player. But better than Trevor Lawrence, I mean, that's a stretch. Let's just call it like we see it. Trevor Lawrence had such a great year this past year, did such a good job of leading the Jaguars to the playoffs, winning a playoff game, turned that team into a contender, pumped life back into that team, did so many things well that we have to applaud Trevor Lawrence for. So to sit here and say Justin Fields is better than that, I mean, what are we doing? I know, some people like the things that Justin Fields brings to the table. I'm one of those people. Great athlete, can throw the football all over the field. So fast when it comes to tucking the ball and running it. I mean, there's a lot of things that Justin Fields does that jumps out at you. I just don't think you can put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence yet. And I think Trevor Lawrence being 96 on the list is way too low because Trevor Lawrence is on the cusp of being a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Some people will say pump your brakes. He's not there yet. I mean, he just took the worst team in football and turned them around and turned them into a legitimate contender. That's not easy to do. He went to a terrible team that was gutted just a tank to get him. And then he, did a good job of, putting the pieces back together and building that team back up. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be even better now that he's got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is blowing people away with his athleticism at Jaguars training camp. Just taking off, doing everything that he needs to do. Looks like a guy that is going to have a huge impact for the Jaguars just because he can do so many things on the football field that are going to help that team. Trevor Lawrence is going to benefit from being able to throw to Calvin Ridley. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, Justin Fields isn't there yet. You can't put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence yet. Trevor Lawrence is clearly better. He's going to be the better player. There's a reason Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 pick in the draft that year. They both came out. I thought Justin Fields fell a little bit further than he should have. Still, it's Trevor Lawrence's, spot to have. He's the better quarterback. He's the top guy out of the two. He's the guy that produced more in college. He's up to this point produced more in the pros. I just don't know how you can put Justin Fields ahead of him yet. The top 100 players list did it. They think Justin Fields is better. They think, Justin Fields can run the ball and throw the ball just like Trevor Lawrence can. It's just not there yet. We haven't seen it yet. He's a great athlete. I think he's going to be a great player. I just can't put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a guy that is good enough to be the face of the whole entire league someday. He could be the face of the whole league, not just the face of the Jaguars. I think he's that good to the point where he could take that next step and be, one of the faces of the league, one of the top guys in the league, someone that carries the whole NFL brand on his shoulders because that's how good Trevor Lawrence is. I can make a strong argument he's already taken steps in that direction because He has been so good with the Jaguars. He has resurrected that team, and his ability to just throw the ball all over the field, the way he competes, and just Trevor Lawrence being a lightning rod for success for the Jaguars, for the league. How do you only put him at 96? He's a top 10 quarterback. I can feel good saying that already just by what he's been able to do. I think the future is still so bright for him. If he did that this past year and now he's got Calvin Ridley, I mean, it's going to be amazing what this guy's gonna do in the future. I'm telling you guys that right now. It's going to be amazing to watch him put it all together and be, just this franchise quarterback that takes the league by storm. That's the Trevor Lawrence we all know and expect him to be. Even going back to his time at Clemson, I mean, you look at him just throwing the ball all over, winning the national championship, lasers all over the field, just really stepped up and got it done. Did the same thing early on with the Jaguars and was in a terrible situation where the team had no hope because they traded away all their best players and all the talent they have. So, yeah, you got to go with Trevor Lawrence ahead of Justin Fields right now. Justin Fields is going to step up and have a big year this year. Maybe we can revisit this conversation. It'll be a little bit closer, but for the time being, it's all Trevor Lawrence right now, and it's not even a debate. So the fact that Justin Fields is ahead of Trevor Lawrence doesn't make any sense at all. Trevor Lawrence being 96 on the list doesn't make any sense at all. It's a messed up rating. The ranking is off. There's no way it should be like this. They got it wrong. That's just a simple fact of the situation. They got it wrong, and Trevor Lawrence should be much higher. He should be higher than 86 too. Justin Fields was 86. Trevor Lawrence was 96. Trevor Lawrence should be way higher than both of those rankings. Talking about a top 10 quarterback in the league. Talking about a guy that is, like I said, capable of being the face of the league. The other story we have is the Zay Flowers story. Zay Flowers is lighting it up for the Ravens. Some people are even saying that Zay Flowers is going to be better than Odell Beckham Jr. and Rashad Bateman for the Ravens because he's working so well with Lamar Jackson that everything's just clicking for Zay Flowers, and he's really been the best wide receiver at these off-season workouts for the Ravens. It's a huge victory for the Ravens, because it looks like they hit on their rookie wide receiver Zay Flowers, a guy that is going to come in and be a big-time weapon for them for years to come, and someone that is so explosive and has great acceleration, such a fast player. Even going back to his time at Boston College, you could see that he was electric and he was different from everybody else on the field. There's a big gap between Zay Flowers and everybody else. They just couldn't keep up with him. Well, those skills have translated over to the National Football League, and he's performing very well in the NFL at these off-season workouts to the point where it's like, okay, this guy can play. They know he can play. They're excited about his future because they know they have something there. John Harbaugh knows he has something in Zay Flowers to the point where, John Harbaugh is smiling and he has a smirk on his face anytime Zay Flowers is brought up because everybody knows. Everybody on that team knows that they hit a home run with Zay Flowers. A lot of these other teams are going to be upset that they let Zay Flowers fall all the way down to where he did because they all missed out on a weapon that could have helped their teams. It's the Ravens gain. Those teams that missed out. They missed out on a big time weapon. Well, it's the Ravens gain because they got a guy that is going to potentially be their number one wide receiver and a guy that is going to catch a lot of passes for this offense. It's going to bring out the best in Lamar Jackson. So many things are going to have a positive impact because of Zay Flowers and what he can do on the football field. You talk about what he's going to do for the offense, what he's going to do for Odell Beckham Jr. and Rashad Bateman, because so much attention is going to be on Zay Flowers that it's going to open things up for Odell Beckham Jr. It's going to open things up for Rashad Bateman. It's going to open things up for Mark Andrews. It's going to bring out the best of Lamar Jackson. The offense as a whole is going to be much better than we've seen in the past. The Ravens are looking really good on the offense side of the ball. They have all the pieces to really just light teams up to the point where if these games are shootouts, I don't know if the other teams are going to have enough firepower to match what the Ravens are bringing to the table, because they just have so much firepower that they're going to win these shootouts all the time, because they're going to score more points, because you can't defend all the weapons that they have, Zay Flowers included. So I'm really excited about this. And, Zay Flowers almost reminds me of a young Brandon Cooks, but I think he's going to be better than a young Brandon Cooks. And remember, Brandon Cooks was a really good player. People forget how good Brandon Cooks was. He had 6 seasons of at least 1,000 yards. 6 seasons of at least 1,000 yards, that's no slouch. That means you were a really, really, really good player. To go for 1,000 yards 6 times in the National Football League, guess what? If you do that, you're a really good player, a guy that can play at the highest levels and do so at a very high level. I think Zay Flowers is going to be better than Brandon Cooks too. So that just goes to show how good Zay Flowers can be, how much potential the guy has. I think he's a souped-up young Brandon Cooks. They're both smaller guys that are extremely fast. Brandon Cooks is more a vertical threat, where Zay Flowers can go vertical, but he also can change directions and get in and out of his breaks very fast too. I think Brandon Cooks is more top-end fast, where Zay Flowers has the acceleration and, like I said, getting in and out of his breaks and can change directions a little bit better. Zay Flowers can go vertical too. We'll see if he can go vertical as well as Brandon Cooks did. But the fact that they have a guy that is capable of, just outrunning the defense, just getting separation, getting in and out of his breaks to the point where these cornerbacks get lost. Having a weapon like that is going to change some things for Lamar Jackson. He's going to be targeting Zay Flowers every chance he gets, because he knows that Zay Flowers is a guy that is going to be just flat out cooking these defensive backs to the point where so much of the offense is going to flow through him just because he is that good. He is that good at getting open. He is that good at shaking defenders. He's good at, completing the catch and, turning and getting upfield and then making something happen after the catch as a yak receiver, yards after the catch. That's how good Zay Flowers can be. I think he's going to be really explosive for this offense. I think he's going to turn a lot of heads. People are really going to start to pay attention to this Ravens offense and what they're doing very soon here. And Lamar Jackson is going to have a real shot at another MVP just because he's finally, after all these years, he's finally surrounded by talent. You look at what Joe Burrow was throwing to. I always talk about this, just loaded with talent, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Well, the Ravens finally got Lamar Jackson the weapons that he needs to be at his best. And, you look at the guys that he's throwing to now, he's got a strong supporting cast that are really going to help him take his game to the next level. And this past year, Lamar Jackson was really lighting it up. They got hit with some injuries. Rashad Bateman, Duvernay went down. That hurt this team. Well, they're all healthy now. Plus, they added Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr. Let's not forget about Odell Beckham Jr. We know what he can bring to the table. Rashad Bateman's going to be healthy. Duvernay's going to be healthy. Duvernay's a fast player. He can get open and go deep too. They used him a lot on jet sweeps last year. So when you put all these pieces to the puzzle together, it's really an exciting offense because they just have so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. This isn't the same old Ravens either. They're not going to be in that offense that was with Greg Roman that was just tight formations and was too constricting. Now they have Monken there. Monken was at Georgia. He liked to use a lot of empty sets, 5 receivers, 4 wide receivers. He likes to space the field and open things up. So Monken, the offensive coordinator that the Ravens have now, he's going to space the field with his wide receivers. They're going to spread you out and play wide open football. So it's not just the talent, too. It's also going from Greg Roman to Monken as the offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, I believe. That's going to be a big change for the Ravens, too. I think, Todd Monken can bring out the best of Zay Flowers just by, using his approach to the game to make sure Zay Flowers is in a position to succeed, getting him open, make sure he's in favorable matchups, making sure they're playing to his strengths, things like that, which will really help Zay Flowers step up and take his game to that next level. I definitely foresee that happening. I think Zay Flowers is going to be very good for that Ravens offense. I think, like I said, the Ravens are going to be a force on the offensive side of the ball. Get ready because that's going to be an exciting brand of football. I'm John Kuzma. This is all I got for the latest episode of the Cross the Middle Show. Check us out wherever podcasts are found. You can also sign up and become a member for only $1 per month. All you have to do is click the link in the episode description box. Thank you guys so much. I'm signing off.